Hello, I'm Maestro Giunta, the music director and conductor of the Des Moines Symphony. People attend orchestra concerts because they are moved by the music. We know music can be very powerful and express feelings and moods that are hard to explain when words fall short of communicating what we feel. Reading Shakespeare, viewing a Picasso or Monet, or listening to music by Beethoven or Bach, all great art has the power to express the inexpressible. And this same great art is inspired by life experiences, good and bad. Nature, celebrations, religions, tragedy, politics, mythology, war, genocide, geography, people, and death are only a few of the hundreds of subjects that have inspired composers, painters, authors, poets, and sculptors to express themselves. As I continue to produce online content for our listening room, a part of our DMSO at Home series, I felt it was important to shine some light on the work and lives of some wonderful Black composers. I am horrified by the shocking and tragic death of George Floyd and all those that suffered the same fate before him due to racial injustice. All of us at the Des Moines Symphony believe music and art can bring people together and heal a community. We pledge to listen, to learn, and to use our platform to inspire profound social change by engaging diverse artists, making equitable programming decisions, and broadening our community reach. We stand in solidarity with those who are fighting for a more equal and just future. In this spirit, I will now speak about a few of the many Black composers that I admire. This is by far not an exhaustive list, just some that I feel have been impactful. Many were pioneers in the classical music world, while others are still living and continue to make important contributions. I'm very proud to have conducted works by many of the following composers and will continue to support and program diverse works with the symphony. Edmund Dede was born a free person of color. However, continued discrimination in his hometown of New Orleans did not allow for an easy childhood. But in spite of this, he had a great amount of talent and learned to play the clarinet and violin quite well. When the Civil War started in 1861, he knew he had to leave New Orleans and finally landed in France, where he found great success. His pieces became very popular there, including his Chicago Grand Valse and Mephisto Masque. His style, more than often, is upbeat, energetic, melodic, and very appealing. Florence Price was born in 1887. In 1933, she became the first Black woman to have her music performed by a major American orchestra, the Chicago Symphony. She lived in Chicago most of her life and was a deeply religious person. This is where much of her inspiration came from. Her first symphony showed maturity and a command of style and blended African American and European traditions. The sweeping melodies and elegant harmonies in the first movement are reminiscent of the music of Antonin Dvorak. The slow movement is inspired by her religion, with cathedral chimes and interplay between the brass and wind choirs. The third movement is a juba dance with African drumming, a tradition started in Angola and moved with the slaves to American plantations. In a touching letter she wrote to Serge Koussevitzky, conductor of the Boston Symphony, she acknowledged what she was facing during her lifetime. She wrote, "I have two handicaps. I'm a woman and I have Negro blood in my veins." Florence Price was a pioneer whose music deserves to be heard. I highly recommend listening to her first symphony. Scott Joplin was known as the King of Ragtime, and he was one of the most influential composers at the turn of the 20th century. He was born in Texas and grew up in Arkansas, and as a young adult, he settled in Missouri. He taught piano while beginning his publishing company, Maple Leaf Rag, there. This brought him great fame because every piano student of the day learned his rags. His innovative harmonies and syncopated rhythms are especially noteworthy. His music was rediscovered in 1973 following the Academy Award-winning film The Sting that used some of his music. I was very fortunate to meet William Grant Still when I conducted part of his African American Symphony for Chicago Symphony Youth Concerts in the 1970s. He was a likable man, quiet-spoken and humble. He was a man of many firsts. The first African American to conduct a major symphony orchestra and to have an opera produced by a major opera company, the New York City Opera. He was also the first black man to have an opera performed on national television, as well as being the first black man to have his own symphony performed by a major American orchestra. He earned and deserved the nickname Dean of African American Composers. George Walker was another man of firsts. He was the first African American to win the Pulitzer Prize in Music in 1996. He was the first black graduate of the Curtis Institute of Music in Philadelphia in 1945, and the first black musician to play in New York's Town Hall, and the first black instrumentalist to perform as a soloist with the Philadelphia Orchestra. He was the first black recipient of a doctorate degree from the Eastman School of Music in 1955, and the first black faculty member to receive tenure at Smith College in 1961. Next season, I am thrilled to conduct the Des Moines Symphony's debut of his Lyric for Strings, written in 1945 and dedicated to his grandmother. Jesse Montgomery is a composer and violinist who has worked for Sphinx, an organization that is a leader in social justice, dedicated to transforming lives through the power of diversity in the arts. Her background also includes time at the Albany Symphony leading their youth education efforts in championing diversity in the arts. Her two pieces for string orchestra, Starburst, written in 2012, and Strum, written in 2018, are superb. In her own words, she says, "Music is my connection to the world. It guides me to understand my place in relation to others and challenges me to make clear the things I do not understand." Daniel Bernard Romaine was born in 1970 and is someone I have worked with on several occasions, including the Des Moines Symphony. DBR is Haitian American social activist, and his music sheds light on areas of inequality in society. His music is often infused with energy and spirit most often found in the pop world. His music embraces and engages the listener. His Voodoo Violin Concerto, written in 2007, is first-rate, as well as his Symphony for the Dance Floor and his Human Songs, Stories for Orchestra, Narrator, and the People. Adolphus Hailstork was born in 1941 in Rochester, New York, and grew up in Albany, where he studied voice, organ, piano, and violin. He has degrees from Howard University, the Manhattan School, and Michigan State University. His teachers include Vittorio Giannini and David Diamond. He also studied with the renowned Nadia Boulanger at the American Institute at Fontainebleau. The Des Moines Symphony has performed his epitaph in memoriam to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., as well as a 1998 fanfare commissioned by the orchestra as part of his 60th anniversary celebration. He is a prolific composer and writes with an attractive and compelling style. Finally, Wynton Marsalis, born in 1961. He's one of the biggest names in jazz today, but he's also found success writing pieces inspired by jazz and gospel music for symphony orchestra. In 1997, he was the first jazz musician to win a Pulitzer Prize for Music with his oratorio, Blood on the Fields. His Violin Concerto, written in 2019 for violinist Nicola Benedetti, is quite extraordinary. There's a lot weighing on us right now. Injustice, inequality, racism, violence, and COVID-19, just to name a few. I hope our music offers you comfort, inspiration, and healing. And never forget that no subject teaches listening better than music. And there's no better time to listen than right now. That's it for today's DMSO Listening Room. Don't forget to go to our website, dmsymphony.org, where you can find listening links to the composers I've just discussed today, right after this video. You'll also find more content in our DMSO at Home series, featuring self-produced videos by our musicians from their homes to yours. Thanks for watching, and stay safe.